Hello, everyone. I'm glad to warmly greet the organizers and participants of the conference. The topic of my presentation addresses urgent issues of sustainable energy and transportation development. Nowadays, humanity is seriously concerned about the problem of global warming and local environmental pollution. Transportation is one of the economic sectors that is facing serious challenges due to environmental concerns. These concerns include the combustion of fossil fuels, global warming, and local pollution. Implementation of battery-powered electric vehicles could be an effective solution to mitigate environmental issues and reduce fossil fuel consumption. The fleet of electric transportation rapidly increases worldwide. Now, Ukrainian government is planning to develop national strategy and programs for electric transportation implementation. The common practice is to compare emissions from electric vehicles with petrol cars, using average consumption of electricity fuel per 1 kilometer and specific emissions of greenhouse gases and pollutants from electricity fuel. This approach is not comprehensive. I'd like to look at the problem from another side. We should take into account that electric vehicles charging is additional load on energy system operation. Therefore, electric transportation causes changes in energy system functioning and consequently changes in the emission level. Therefore, the fundamental study of the influence of electric transportation implementation on the Ukrainian integrated power system is needed for developing strategies of electric vehicle fleet increase. The experience of other countries is not applicable for Ukrainian circumstances. The Ukrainian power system is a unique, complex system with different energy sources, partly obsolete equipment, etc. The main factors to consider are the volume of electric vehicles and electric vehicles charging model. The specific feature of electric transportation is the opportunity to vary the charging load during the day due to implementing different regulatory and/or incentive measures. The aim of the study is to estimate the effect of different electric transportation charging models on the Ukrainian integrated power system operation, fossil fuel consumption, greenhouse gases, and pollutant emissions. The study was carried out for the pre-war state of the integrated power system. The distribution of energy sources in pre-war period are shown in the slide. Nuclear energy provides a reliable base load and covers more than half of electricity production in the Ukraine. There are 4 nuclear power plants with 15 reactors in total. There were 12 thermal power plants in Ukraine. Most TTPs are using coal as a primary fuel. Hydropower plays a crucial role in the functioning of the Ukrainian power system, as they are main providers of auxiliary services to meet the peak demand of the power system and balance intermittent. Renewable energy sources also contribute to flattening the night gaps of electricity consumption. Now, energy system has suffered huge damage due to the war with Russian Federation. Nevertheless, the IPS will definitely be restored and updated in the post-war period. It should be expected nuclear and hydropower will recover to the same extent. TPPs are likely to be equipped with new generation equipment and exhaust gas purification systems. At the same time, the APS operation characteristics, specific fuel consumption, and emission factors will change. In such case, it's necessary to recalculate relevant values. I used the software complex simulating the operation of Ukrainian integrated power system developed in the General Energy Institute of the National Academy of Sciences of Ukraine. This complex is based on non-linear mixed integer least cost dispatch model. It contains information of all power units in the Ukrainian integrated power system. A set of calculations was carried out for assessing influence of electric transportation charging models on Ukrainian energy system functioning, fuel consumption, and emissions of carbon dioxide and pollutants. 4 scenarios were considered. First scenario assumes the electric vehicle fleet at the 2020 level, baseline. Next 3 scenarios assume that the number of electric vehicles in Ukraine increased by 5 times and consider 3 charging models, standard, equal, and 9. Evidently, 2 last models are ideal and not achievable really. However, the results indicate the direction for development of strategy and regulatory acts to get better results. Diagrams at this slide illustrate structure of Ukrainian energy system operation under 4 scenarios in January, July, and Enyan. I chose January and July because usually these months differ each other significantly in consumption level, as well as wind, solar, and hydro characteristics. The results show that the share of nuclear power plants increases practically for all scenarios except for the scenario X5 equal in winter. Therefore, it's expected the decrease of fuel consumption as well as GG and pollutants emissions. The table at the slide illustrates this fact. The figures in the slide show the behavior of fuel intensity and carbon dioxide emissions throughout the year. Fuel intensity increases in winter for all scenarios because the share of electric vehicle load is smaller than in the summer. In summer and annually, the decrease of fuel intensity and emissions reaches up to approximately 14% X5-9. For scenario X5 equal, GG and pollutant emissions increase despite of decrease of fuel intensity. This is explained by the larger share of coal thermal power plants compared to gas thermal power plants. It should be noted that such trends are observed exclusively for Ukraine due to specific structure of Ukraine with large share of nuclear energy. Electric transportation volumes rapidly increase around the world. Ukrainian government also plans to develop strategies for electric transportation implementation. For these purposes, it's necessary to study their influence as additional load on Ukrainian integrated power system operation. This study analyzes the influence of electric transportation charging models on fuel consumed by energy system, fuel intensity, and emission levels. The calculations were carried out using software complex developed in the General Energy Institute. 3 charging models were considered, specifically standard, night, and equal. Evidently, 2 last models are ideal and not achievable really. However, the results indicate the direction for development of strategy and regulatory acts to get better results. Thank you for your attention. I will be happy to answer any questions that might appear.